Hey guys, Paragon here, and we are going through another best build video. This week we had a suggestion from Verminal to go through Gunslinger for PvP, so we will be running the Hunter subclass Gunslinger and how I build this class and the best way to maximize your potential of this class's abilities. So let's have a look at our perks first up. So the first thing, we have our grenade. We're going to select Trip Mine. Now, our incendiary grenade is very strong as well, but Trip Mine for this build is going to be your go-to. Very strong zoning, coupled with our exotic choice, it is going to be one of the greatest tools in our arsenal. Triple jump, pretty straightforward choice there. Combustion for the golden gun. Now we pick combustion to give that AoE damage after the kill of that explosion, and that is going to help your kill potential big time. You can kill 2, 3, sometimes even 4 enemies with one shot, and with Archaeophage not being year 2 yet, or don't get your hopes up, it may never come forward, but having that extra kill potential per shot is great, having the AoE. We're going to run with Incendiary Blade on our throwing knife. Having that dot is excellent. If you get that precision hit and you get one shot off on your enemy, you can run out of there, you know that dot will finish them off. Now looking at stats, again, I build full armor and full agility for my hunter. This is how I prefer to play at the cost of recovery. This fits my playstyle. For you guys, build how you prefer, but for me, this works really well. High armor means I can survive a couple more shots in some instances, and also trip mines, some damage, you'll get away with the slightest amount of health, and for me, I love that feeling of being able to just get out of that gunfight and being alive. High agility, moving around the map, just suits how I play. So now, we pick up Scavenger. Now this build is going to be heavily focused on your trip mine and your throwing knife. So how I've built it is going to complement that. Now keyhole is irrelevant if you are going to be running combustion. You do not need keyhole if you have combustion. Gunslinger's trance, I find, is you're not going to be able to get the maximum benefit from this in PvP. PvE, by all means, go for it. PvP, you're not going to notice that. Now our last choice is going to be Gambler's Dagger. Now this is going to give us an additional throwing knife. So this build essentially, with our exotic choice of the young Ahamkara's spine, we will have 2 trip mines, 2 throwing knives, and couple that with Scavenger, we are going to be having our abilities up a lot. So there is almost no downtime. For every fight you will have a trip mine and a throwing knife available, which is great. So looking at our stat build, we have 2 options. We can either completely stack intellect and then evenly split between discipline and strength, or for me, I prefer to run even intellect with discipline, and then whatever is left I can put into strength. So the reason for this is I want the high uptime on those abilities. I'm going to try and couple this with a helmet that has Ashes to Asset, or something that's going to boost either my super gain from grenade kills or my super gain from melee kills, or even boosting the energy of grenade from melee and vice versa, so that I'm keeping these abilities up, because this is what we're going to focus on in this build, is using these abilities to our advantage, because this gives us a lot of counterplay options. The trip mine has amazing zoning potential. Now having 2 trip mines with the combination of young Ahamkara's spine that also lasts for a longer duration is great. Having that trip mine lasting longer means you can drop that trip mine, move to another section of the map, and still have one left to use aggressively. So you can use one trip mine to cover your flank, and the other one, keep that up your sleeve, ready to use in an aggressive play. So it's very strong at keeping you safe from flanks, which is great. Now the throwing knife, this thing is amazing against shotgunners. Now I cannot even begin to count how many times a shotgunner runs at me in a straight line. Shotgunners are very predictable with their movement. Every time they're coming towards you, they're either going to jump straight at you or run straight at you. The throwing knife's trajectory goes in an arc, so it slightly goes up and then dips towards the end. So you can throw the throwing knife in a way that as that shotgunner is coming towards you, you get the headshot, place one body shot, and then the dot from Incendiary Blade, the damage over time effect will finish him off, or you have time to jump away after using 2 quick attacks. So very great counter for the shotguns. So let's look at the strengths of this build. Number 1, zone control. These trip mines give you such great zoning potential. You are able to block objectives, you are able to lock them down, you are able to block choke points, and you can use the grenade in an offensive and defensive manner, and there's no loss using it either way. Using it in an offensive meta though, be careful that if you do stick your enemy, if they run towards you, you will die from the explosion as well. So the only downside to the trip mine is you can get killed by your own trip mines. So make sure you're very careful of how you place them, and remember where you put them when you are covering your flank, so that when you're running back through, your trip mine doesn't expire as you're running through and you end up dying. Now, we have a super high uptime on all of our abilities because of the scavenger perk. So this means you need to focus on picking up every ammo box you can. Whenever an ammo box is available, pick it up and you will have your shotgun, not your shotgun, if you pick them up, you will have a shotgun ammo ready. But if you pick them up, you're going to have your throwing knife and your trip mine up almost the entire game. And like I said, having both of these up for this build is what makes it shine and what gives it its power, because you have such high uptime on your throwing knife and on your trip mine, which just makes you an absolute monster. Both these abilities are going to help you out big time. We also have, everyone knows this already, but we also have the golden gun being one of the best supers in the game. It is a one shot at distance and it is not that hard to aim. 3 shots, we get almost guaranteed 3+ kills if we can get that combustion. So be very careful about coming up against Sunbreakers with this build. Sunbreakers with high armor will be able to tank one of your golden gun shots currently. So make sure when you're using it, be very confident that you can either land the 2 shots on the Sunbreaker that's using Hammer of Soul, or make sure that you're actually moving around in a way so that they cannot hit you and you can counterplay them. You do not want to come up against a hammer, pop your golden gun thinking I can blow him up, and then you die. So make sure you use your golden gun smart, utilize the shots, and save it for when you need it. Now, this build fits multiple playstyles. If you're a run and gun shotgunner, this build is going to be great for you. If you like to snipe, this build is going to be great for you. Whichever playstyle you prefer, if you're a passive aggressive player, this build will enhance both playstyles. It gives you options for both, and it has very high versatility, which is probably why I love this build so much, is the fact that I can adapt quickly in game without having to change any of my abilities to what my enemy is doing. All I have to do is alter how I place my trip mines or how I'm positioning around the map, and I've automatically gone from an aggressive pushing player to a defensive rotating player, or vice versa. So make sure you're being very smart about how you use your abilities, and you can make this build work for a shotgun, for someone who wants to run and gun with primaries, sidearms, snipers, whatever weapon choice you pick, this will work great with. For me personally, when I'm running Gunslinger, I prefer to play that sort of middle of the ground and operate with a pulse rifle primary and a sniper rifle. So that sniper sitting back, using the trip mines to protect my flank, and then using that primary to kill anyone who gets within that range. Now again, shotguns are viable, but you are going to be heavily outmatched by anyone using blink with a shotgun. You are not going to have the mobility that that person will have. So let's look at the weakness of this class. The biggest weakness that this class has is its dependence on ammo crates. So if you're getting very unlucky with your spawns, or you have those teammates that decide to pick up the ammo crates when no one's around, this build is going to suffer a lot because, like I said, it has a high dependence on the scavenger perk to keep the uptime on all of your abilities. And if you're not getting the trip mines and the throwing knives up, you are going to have a hard time keeping this build effective. So make sure you get those ammo crates every chance you get. Even if you're at full ammo capacity, pick it up. It is a significant amount of ability regen that you get for every ammo box that you pick up. So every time you pick up ammo, you're getting ability back. That's great. We want more trip mine, we want more throwing knives, because this is what's going to really make this build shine. So let's look at a couple of tips to really optimize this build and squeeze every little bit out of it, so you are that absolute slaying machine in Crucible that you know you should be. So this build is a huge Slayer class. It is built around killing and taking out multiple enemies with fluidity. We can flow in and out of gunfights. So a couple of things to help maximize that is, number one, be preemptive with your grenade use. So with your trip mines, don't throw your trip mine as the guy is coming around the corner. If you see someone on the radar, throw it ready to stick on that wall, and make sure you're ready for it to land as he comes around the corner, not throwing it as you see him, because you want that trip mine to hit as he's just before he lands around that corner, so that he's going to walk into it, trigger the trip mine, and you get the kill. So use your trip mine. You can't use it like other grenades where you throw them and panic in a situation. You need to be smart, use them ahead of time. Your throwing knife, it is great for countering shotguns and people rushing at you in a straight line. It is also a good ability to lead people around a corner. Sometimes when people are running at you, being very predictable with their movement and coming around a corner straight without jumping, you can throw a throwing knife and shoot, and that's it. They're done. They're dead. They can't counter you. The time to kill will be so fast, they will have no chance of being able to kill you. Make sure you save your golden gun for when it will have maximum impact. Now, I can't stress this enough. Golden gun is one of those abilities that has such a high impact on the flow of a game. If you can quickly kill 3 enemies, I mean, if we look at Trials of Osiris, that's a whole team down in one super. If we look at a 6v6, that's potentially half the team down with your super use. If you waste it trying to fight a Hammer of Soul when you're in a bad position, or using it and getting sniped, make sure you're always in cover when you activate your super or you're jumping. This is going to make your movements unpredictable for your enemy, so if they are hard scoping you or if they are ready for you, you are not dying and losing your super, because once that animation is finished and you die, that's it. You lost your super and you just wasted it. So there you have it, guys, my favorite Gunslinger PvP set up for maximum slaying potential. Let me know in the comments how you guys go with this build, and let me know if you want to see any other builds covered or any specific classes that you would like me to cover next. Make sure you leave a like, and thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate that you've taken the time out of your day to watch this video. I really hope it helped. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your screen, and we will catch you next time.